on, guys? Welcome to Godfather Saga number 54. I know it's been quite some time since I've kind of given you guys a personal update, as far as life, family, my workouts, how 3DMJ is doing and all that good stuff. First and foremost, as you guys can see, the family is doing really well. We're just, a typical family, having fun, trying to be happy, trying to be healthy, and just living life one day at a time and enjoying it the best we can. And it's amazing, when I look back on last year's, prep vlogs, just how big the kids are getting. It's amazing. And, even myself, I think I'm losing a little bit more hair. So that's, all the reason why that, I really want to make sure that, as stressful as maybe life can be at times, that, in the end, really all that matters is that we're happy and we're healthy. But yeah, we're good as far as family life goes. So basically, for me, as far as bodybuilding goes, you know, before I get into that, I just want to, say that, on Instagram, I put up a post, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 weeks back, asking some people, if there was anything that, you guys want to ask of me, how I do things in the sport of natural bodybuilding, go ahead and ask. And, I'll take the top 5 questions and I'll answer them in a YouTube video series on, the Godfather Saga. And got some great questions, but there was 5 that really stood out. So today I'm going to tackle the first one. And, the first one is basically, the stress affect our progress. And, it's kind of interesting that when this question was posed, I was under a lot of stress, both in and out of the gym. And, there was a lot going on in life, nothing bad, just more along the lines of, just time constraints, like trying to find time to get everything done. And my workouts were actually really suffering because I was feeling a lot of pressure to try to get those workouts, in. And actually, the time I had to work out, I was trying to cram a lot in a little window. So getting, before I even got to the gym, I was already high strung. And then when I was actually in the gym, I was even more high strung because I'm trying to cram all this work in a short time window. And that's just because, we have, school had just started back up for my stepdaughter. So there was a lot of homework, 6th grade homework. It's, man, some of that is actually kind of hard. So helping her with her homework, it was like 3, 4 hours of homework a day. And then she's also playing soccer. So there's soccer practice a couple times a week. Plus, taking care of my son who's almost going to be 3 in November. So that can be a handful. And then, of course, trying to find time, for my wife, and ourselves, basically my wife and I, because in my opinion, I feel like, the relationship, like husband wife, that right there is kind of like the foundation of a family. If that is rock solid, usually the family is rock solid. So I always try to find time, with my wife to make sure we have, that alone time. So we continue to, strengthen our relationship. So trying to find all this time to fit everything in, it was becoming pretty difficult and challenging. So these workouts, they were suffering. Yeah, it was like, I think I knew I hit rock bottom when I went into squat and I started doing my warm ups. And then on my first heavy set, on my second rep, I was just like, I don't want this fucking shit on my back. Like, I just did not want that heavy ass weight on my back. It felt like a burden, like it was just a burden on me. And so right then, I just racked the weight, um, went inside the house and said, that's it. I'm not working out. I need a break. And basically, I took 3 or 4 days off from the gym, and I really need to do some, some basically assessing, what the issues were going on, and just really, look within myself to find out what the problem is and to find a solution to my problems. Because basically, yeah, my workouts were suffering, my physique was looking pretty flat. And coming off of that guest posing, that prep for that wasn't really ideal. Again, I was pressed for time. I was pushing things, and it was creating a pretty stressful environment. Um, so yeah, it was just overall just life. Even though we're all happy and healthy, life was just really fast paced, and I just really wasn't. I didn't have my bearings. So basically, I did some searching. I'm like, okay, what is the issue here? And it basically was just come down to structuring my time better. So it just meant, okay, maybe I need to get up earlier in the morning, start work earlier so I can get more done before, taking the kids to school and all that. So really just kind of, figuring out, okay, how can I make work more efficient? And then actually, getting my stepdaughter's homework, get to a time window there and making that efficient. So just really like resetting my structure was something that I did to really kind of help the stress outside the gym. So as far as the gym, I'm like, okay, what can I do to make this improved? So what I ended up coming up with was like, okay, if I'm trying to fit all this work into one time slot, and I'm having a hard time with it, then why don't I split this work up? So basically what I did was like, okay, let me do one compound lift in the morning. So basically after I drop the kids off from school, go right into my gym, do one compound lift. So, my bench press, my overhead press, my row, my deadlift, and my squat. So 5 different sessions. So it's actually 5 workouts, but only focusing on one lift in the morning, which takes me, anywhere between, 20 to 40 minutes, depending on what exercise it is. Obviously, it's an overhead press. I'm done in 20 minutes. If it's a deadlift or a squat session, it might take me 40 just because of the rest times are a little bit longer. So basically, that's what I came up with. Okay, one compound lift in the morning. That way I drop the kids off. I'm fresh. I'm not mentally burned out from a long day of work. I have good energy. So I implemented that, and then I was like, okay, for the fluff work or the accessory work, I don't really like to call it accessory because it's just as important as the compounds, but we'll just call it fluff. I basically do 1 to 2 movements in the afternoon. So after I'm done with work, I go back out to the gym and then I do 1 or 2 accessories, and my day's done as far as workouts. And in comparison to most people, I am a lower volume guy. So my compounds, I run in the morning. I'll do 3 sets of power, then I'll follow it up with 2 or 3 sets of hypertrophy. So for example, squats might be like, let's say for example, it's 3 sets by 5. Then I'll follow it up with 3 sets by 8, and that's my squat session. So just running the compounds like that, and then the accessories or the fluff stuff in the afternoon, 1 or 2 movements, 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Usually it's 8. I like 8 for some reason, kind of a sweet spot for me. I can still lift pretty decent loads with 8 reps, and it doesn't feel like a marathon workout. Whereas when I'm going like 10, 12s, feels more endurance. I have to lift lighter, and I just don't really care for that rep scheme too much. So it's generally 8s to 10s on most of the fluff stuff. And what I did also was I capped my sets at 3 sets. So I don't do any more than 3 for power or for hypertrophy. Whereas prior to splitting this up, this workout in the split workouts, I was trying to do like add volume into my workout. So I was trying to add volume via sets, like doing more sets to get volume that way. And I think that's one reason why the workouts were long, and I was trying to cram it into a small window. And because of that, also, the quality of my workouts were suffering. Like my form started to suffer on some of those, the tail end sets, because, I'm rushing and fatigue is setting in. And also the loads I was lifting, I noticed weren't really progressing all that well. And actually in some, I'd have to lower loads down in order to get the extra sets in. So to me, after I was thinking about this, really like searching for answers to all this, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I'm losing quality. My loads are going down. I'm not progressing too well. And I do think loads are important to progress. So I think, combo of loads and also, the amount of work you do. So basically I'm thinking like if I cap my sets at 3, I know my quality is going to improve because now I don't have to worry about a fourth and fifth set, and I could focus on trying to actually increase loads versus kind of like, okay, my form is sucking because I got to do these extra couple sets, quality's going down. So basically, since going to this split workout, because I have good energy in the morning, I'm focused, I'm motivated, and I'm capping my sets at 3. So I'm focusing on quality and the intensity and the loads. I've been able to really walk up the weight the last, um, 4 or 5 weeks since doing this. I think it's been about 4 weeks now, actually. I'm able to start walking my lifts up. So I'm seeing all my lifts across the board move up, with the exception of curls, because I have some forearm tendonitis in my left elbow that I'm dealing with. But other than that, like my motivation, the performance, recovery, all that is improved. My stress levels are way down, and it's just working out really great. So, just focusing on one lift in the morning, I knock it out and I'm done. There's no like more work that needs to be done during that session. So, I go out, I come out of there feeling really good. And then after my morning session, then I have, breakfast, then my lunch, and then I go back in to train the one or two accessories. Well, I have a shit ton of energy because I just had 2 meals, and I have, I don't have to worry about a long ass workout. It's just, 2 exercises really, 1 or 2. So I could put 100% effort into it, and it's just been, for me anyways, for the time being, it's been working out extremely well. Again, my stress levels are way down, my motivation's way up, my enjoyment is way up again, and it's definitely showing in my physique because I'm a lot fuller now, and not as flat and run down looking. So for the time being, anyway, this is a great solution. Now, this is not to say that I'll be doing this forever, or long term. I just don't know yet. But for the time being, it's a perfect solution and it's working out well. And I know, from experience over the years that the sport isn't black or white. So it's not to say that this is the answer forever. You always have to look at the many shades of gray. So there might be another shade of gray later on that I have to go to. But for the time being, yeah, it's been working out extremely, extremely well. So I'm really excited to, basically finish out the rest of the year, probably doing this setup more than likely. Continue to make progress because this is my off season, and right now I'm sitting at about 179 pounds, so about 9-10 pounds over my stage weight, which I'll save that for another video as far as how well I've transitioned this off season, and not really let myself get to 30 pounds over. So it's definitely not going to take me 50 weeks to get ready like it did last season. But yeah, I'm very optimistic about next year's contest season. I am going to be competing next year, and one of my goals is definitely to get to both the Yorton Cup and the Worlds in the same year. So doing 2 World Championships, 2 different organizations, and it would be nice to kind of say I did both, and to be able to possibly crack in the top 5 in both of those. I think that would be an extremely awesome, tremendous goal to have in my career. And of course, this is all going to be pending on the financial part of it, because it does cost a lot of money to do these shows, to travel. Yorton Cup is usually on the East Coast, the Worlds is on the East Coast, so for me, that's 2 East Coast trips. It can be quite expensive, so I just gotta have to see how the finances go, but that is the plan. And the other thing I want to announce, and I know I'm kind of making this video extremely long, is that basically I will be working with a coach this year to handle my nutrition, just my nutrition. And that coach is going to be Brad Loomis. As you guys seen in the last video series, he's pretty knowledgeable when it comes to nutrition. So he's going to be heading my nutrition. I'll be handling my training and all that. But it's good to have him in my corner. And of course, the other coaches here at 3D Muscle Journey too. They always have input. But yeah, so in a nutshell, yeah, the topic was, can stress have effect on our progress? Yes, it can, and yes, it will. And basically, you need to figure out what that stress is, what the cause is, um, and fix the issue. And just in a nutshell, learn to relax.
Can I finish eating? I put in my mouth.